Hi guys, so today I thought I'd give you an update on the woodlice, how they're getting on with the Arcadia custodian fuel, and the main reason I did this is because I started recording a few seconds after putting pellets in with the woodlice, which the pellets are the custodian fuel, and they went crazy for them. So we didn't get to see that on my review video because, I mean, the woodlice had been in a post all day. This was a new food source, so you had a few individuals come up and see what it was, but it certainly wasn't like this. They went crazy for these pellets today. Now, I put about 5 in here. In about 3 weeks, I've probably replaced them twice. And the population seemed to be doing really, really well. I think they look healthy. I can't really say that the pellets have made the population boom, because there just hasn't been long enough to say that for sure, because woodlice take a little bit longer to reproduce. For example, it can take 3 to 9 weeks just for the eggs to hatch, and then they spend a further 3 to 9 days in the brood pouch, which is located under the female. Obviously, that varies from species to species, but certainly it hasn't been long enough for me to say, oh, this has definitely made the population boost. However, I must have had some already pregnant females. I'm going to say pregnant. I don't know if that's the correct terminology, but I must have had some pregnant females in here, because all of a sudden there are tons and tons of babies, and I've even seen that in the terrarium. So what you're looking at right now are the woodlice in the original tub. If you remember, I put a few in the terrarium. I can't see them as easily as I can see them in this tub. That's why I'm filming the tub. I find that if you look underneath the moss and near the driftwood, you see a lot more of the woodlice, and I've spread the pellets throughout the terrarium and they all get eaten, so that's all good. Now, some people ask me why I haven't put springtails in there. I explained this before. I strongly think that what's in the eco-earth is springtails. I actually see them in my leopard gecko's tank, but more commonly in my crested gecko's tank where it's more humid. These, to me, look like springtails as they're brown though, and I've seen springtails that are white. I've seen springtails in videos go literally crazy for these pellets, and I've heard that in terms of springtails, it does actually make the population really bloom. Is it bloom or boom? I'm not really sure. But what I will say is near the back of the terrarium, where it's quite dark and damp, I moved a bit of moss and I did see what looked like springtails all over these pellets. By the time I picked up the pellet to move it, to film it in the light, they disappeared. So that was annoying. However, this particular one, I'm going to try to zoom in. Hopefully it doesn't get pixelated. You might need to be watching in HD. But there are these tiny, tiny, what look like white circular bugs, but in person they look more translucent. And I believe this is part of the life cycle of the springtail. So this may be a younger springtail. If you're more familiar with springtails and you think this is what it is, let me know. But I definitely think springtails live in a terrarium anyway, and I do think their population has increased. As I said, can't say that for the woodlice because it hasn't been as long, but I've definitely seen all sorts of bugs around these pellets. And I actually put one in the tub of worms, because obviously I didn't put all my worms in the terrarium. I have a little pot that I got from, I think, Swell Reptiles, and I put a pellet in there and it has been consumed. It slowly broke down. I don't know whether it just broke down in the soil or the worms actively ate, but it has disappeared. Now, one thing I did say in the review is something I read on the back of the packet that says that it will not have any white residue or go mouldy. I have to say, when I put it in the terrarium, in the damper areas of the terrarium, there was some like white fluff go around it, and you can see it here. But what I found out is that this is just part of the breaking down process of the pellet, and this creates a nutrient-rich soup, which is easily consumed by the cleanup crew. And if you think about it, woodlice do eat mould anyway, so I don't see it very much, and I only see it on certain pellets in more damper areas, but it's not really a problem considering you push it right down in the soil. Some of the pellets I put actually underneath the moss in the terrarium, so I really don't have a problem with that, and they all do get eaten, so it's all good. But yeah, you may have noticed I've been using a lot more natural products at the moment, and I think that stems from the fact that I did crested gecko live tanks, and I've just seen my crested geckos almost come alive again and interact with their environment so much more. And whether it's seeing the plants thrive, the actual gecko thrive, or even the cleanup crew, when they're all working together, it's this whole ecosystem is such a brilliant payoff, and to have everything in that system as natural as I possibly can make it is great. So we've got like a whole food chain there. You have your custodian fuel, which is completely natural. Those animals can technically be consumed by my crested gecko, and everything just works together, and I really love that. And obviously, since doing those tanks, I've had a lot of people request me to do leopard gecko tanks. I'm still doing research into that. I really don't know how about I could do that, because there's not that much information on what plants would be safe and so on. But one thing I will say is I have been looking into more natural products and natural supplements, because a lot of the vitamin supplements you get are made of synthetics, and I have found that Arcadia, because they have this whole Earth Pro range, so everything's like natural in it, they do actually have a supplement one. So, I don't know, I'm looking into it. You might have some more videos around these products in a few months' time or so. But yeah, as you can see, this product's certainly working well for the woodlice, and I hope you've enjoyed this video. Thank you very much for watching.